Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm doing this kind of a video after a really long time, and that's because so many of you showed love and support to the previous video I did, which is things to keep in mind when moving to a PG or apartment in Bangalore. So I'm not going to waste any time and let's just get into the topic. Now there are two reasons you have clicked on this video. One of them being that you have already moved to Bangalore, and the second one being that you are planning to move to Bangalore. Now whatever those reasons might be, let me tell you, Bangalore is a place full of things going on. There are huge opportunities, there's a lot of places to explore, but along with that come a lot of challenges.
And that's what I'm here to help you with.
So here's the complete guide for first timers moving to Bangalore or for those who are already in Bangalore. Now the first one is finding the right accommodation. Now whether you want to live in a PG or whether you want to live in an apartment or a house of your own, all of it really depends on the
budget you have.
What is most important is that it's for you to find a place that is pretty close to your workplace or your college, because that reduces commute time, which, trust me, if you're not spending a lot of time on the roads in Bangalore, you'll feel like you're in heaven, because that's quite literally one of the biggest, I would say, downsides, the traffic, obviously. But at the same time, not all circumstances go hand in hand. So like for me, I don't live close to my workplace, nor did I live close to college, but I did figure out a way for my transport. So even though it was a little, here and there, it was worth it in the end. Now obviously I have done a detailed video on this, which I was talking about, so make sure to check that out. But to give a few little and brief tips, I would say: one, make sure to reduce the deposit as much as possible. Be aware of the additional costs that can come, such as maintenance, electricity charges, and so much more. And most importantly, make sure you check the place in person or someone else checks it out for you, because photos can be quite misleading and you definitely need to check if the switches are working and if such details are not to be missed. Trust me. The second one is budgeting and cost of living. Trust me when I say this, I know it kind of seems like a same point, but it's not. You really need to be budgeting or looking out for unnecessary cost. You just need to really avoid that, because unless you're a
Millionaire or a billionaire or you're a trust fund baby,
Bangalore gets expensive real fast. You'll just be like, oh, 10 rupees, 10 rupees, 10 rupees. When that turns into 100 is crazy. You know what? Forget 100. Count 1,000. Because the moment you step out the door, it's like, ching, money just goes off, So be very careful. Again, all of that comes down to where you're living, because that is going to be where your primary source of income is going to be going. Obviously you
need a house, stay like duh.
But once you have figured that out, then it gets easier to budget. And trust me, you all need to learn budgeting or saving. I would love to do a video on that as well. But it has saved me countless times in Bangalore, especially when there was kind of like a medical situation for me where I had to be admitted in the hospital, and because I had savings, I was able to obviously pay for my medical, whatever it was. It was not a good experience, but again, what I'm trying to say here is saving is really important. Make sure the money for the rent, you just keep it aside and then you calculate, and then whatever is remaining, do whatever the hell you want with it. Now the third point I'm talking about is food and eating out. Now if you're new to Bangalore and you're living in a PG, most likely, then I would say if the food doesn't suit you or you just, it's not like for you, then I would say to discover local messes or tiffin centers. There are a lot of them in Bangalore, but again, make sure to do your own research, so even that food is worth the price, because if you're going to pay additional money to get food, it might as well be worth it. Now if you're living in a rented apartment or a place of your own, then you're most likely going to have the necessary stuff that are required for you to cook. So make sure to meal prep. Meal prep has been a huge savior for me. Now if you are someone who has a fridge, then what I would like to say to you is to meal prep for like 1 or 2 days and keep it in the fridge. So that way, even if you feel hungry, you will be like, I've already cooked food, it's already in the fridge, like why am I not having it? Because all you have to do is heat it up. That's literally quite it. But however, if you are like me, who likes to eat out, oops, What I would really recommend you is to go do a little bit of research in your area or in your locality and find what is actually pocket friendly, so that way you're eating out but you are spending considerably less amount. Now the reason I'm saying this, the reason I'm telling you all to do your research, is the same masala dosa that is sold for 90 rupees will also often be sold for 40 to 50 rupees in the same area but in a different place. So it's very important for you to do your research, because sometimes if you can get food for good food for a lower price, why would you not go there, right? So that's what you have to focus on. You have options, local tiffin centers or whatever places that give food like meal food from homes. That's the first point. Second point is, what's the second point? The second point is meal prep, and third point is pocket friendly places that you can go to. So the fourth point is commuting and transport hacks. Now, if you all have even done a little bit of research in coming to Bangalore, or if you've been to Bangalore earlier, you would have known that BMTC buses exist literally in every nook and corner, and that is because BMTC buses are one of the most used modes of transport in Bangalore. However, if you are going during peak hours, which is basically what the work timings are, it can get
Really overcrowded.
and this is coming from someone who has to work in Shivaji, which basically means I have to cross Brigade Road. So it is not a pleasant experience. So if you can, and if you do have access to metro, use it, because why would you not? But at the same time, I do understand, because right now I've heard that the metro prices are increased. It obviously has zero effect on me because I don't use it, but for those who are using it, it matters a lot. So metro is another option you have, but they are very limited distances that they cover, or limited places that they go to. So that's another thing for you to kind of deal with. The other option is definitely Uber, Ola. I do not go to local auto drivers anymore. Not that I don't suggest, it's just kind of scary a lot of times. I've had a lot of unpleasant experiences, but I've had a lot of good experiences as well. So it kind of depends on my mood. But if you're someone especially new, right, you're trying to figure out your way around Bangalore, it's always good to book Uber, because obviously Uber or Ola or whatever, because they obviously show you the distance that you're covering. You have a set price, so there's no argument. And 90% of the time, they don't obviously do any kind of thing, but that is most likely the safest option. However, if your workplace or college is within walkable distance, I would highly suggest you to go walk, because you kind of save money, you're not dealing with traffic, and most importantly, you're staying fit. So if anyone asks you,
I cannot do exercise.
you can be like, oh, I walk every day to stay fit and blah blah blah. Obviously you're not, but it's a good thing to flex about. So yeah. The fifth point is weather and wardrobe essentials. Now, Bangalore is a crazy city in terms of weather. This used to be a running joke in college between me and some of my classmates, and that's you can experience all 4 seasons in one day, and I'm not kidding, that actually does happen. So depending on weather, it's right now it's really hot, really hot, and it's March. Around May, June is when the rain starts, so that's when you should always carry an umbrella. And irrespective of whatever it is always I can advise this to you, always keep a jacket in your bag, because if you're going to an office or something like that, the AC will be on, and there obviously it gets pretty cold. That is why you will see a lot of people when they're going to work or something, they'll always be having a hoodie or a jacket, and you're just it's hot, what's wrong with you? But trust me, that's because they really know that in the next 5 minutes the weather will turn cold. And that's just how Bangalore, it's really unpredictable. So if you're moving or something, always have an umbrella, and jackets most likely everyone has, jackets or hoodies like this, but always have an umbrella or a raincoat with you. The next point is about making friends and networking in Bangalore. Like I've said, Bangalore is a really huge place with a lot of opportunities, which basically means a lot of friends that you can make and a lot of networking that can happen as well. But again, because it's a big place, it gets kind of harder to do that as well, because you don't really know where to start from, what to do. So I'm actually in this one WhatsApp group where they kind of talk about events that are happening on a regular basis, like every event that is happening every single day of the week, not just weekends. So it gives you time to like go explore these places, but also at the same time do a little bit of research, because I've been here for like 4 years, 5 years now, and up until like second last year I didn't realize that there was like a whole community of carrots in Bangalore for 17. And the moment I realized it, I was like, oh my freaking god, like where was I all this while, where was this all this while? So trust me, you just gotta look it up on Instagram, but make sure they're like reliable, verified sources. Don't go meet someone individually in their houses or something. That is like a literal recipe for disasters. Don't be doing that. But definitely go out like in public places, go to events, go to karaoke events, and just have fun. The next point is shopping for essentials. Now Bangalore, again, like it's a huge place, has a lot of places that you can go shopping for essentials and groceries for your home. Now if you're talking about like groceries, I would definitely suggest you all to go to your local shops that are near your home and get groceries from them, because there are a lot of pros to this. Now if you go there, you kind of do build a nice kind of a bond with them, and if they are in a good mood, they give you discounts, which why would you miss out on that? And just a little things like that. Let's say you forgot cash, or you don't have, like your bank account is not working, they'll be like, pay it next time. So you always have the luxury of that. If that is like inevitable at that point, then I would definitely say that Zepto and Blinkit are my two go-to options. Groceries really come out like fresh, at least for me. I've not had a negative experience so far, but the groceries come out fresh, and it's just easier for me sometimes as well when I'm having hard days. Now regarding buying stuff in bulk, let's say you're a family, or you just want to buy stuff in bulk, basically D-Mart is that shop. Now D-Mart is like the Indian version of Costco, and what I mean by that is you kind of end up going for one thing, but you come out with like thousands of things and just rack up a 15,000 bill. So be careful on that, especially if you're someone who is an impulsive spender. Be very careful of that, because D-Mart is really that place. Now if you want to look for clothes or something like that, there's definitely Brigade, where you can explore a lot of things. And you also have BTM layout, where there are a lot of options. Commercial Street is not what it used to be right now. There's just really not that hype, and there's not really a lot of stuff going on. But again, if you're on the lookout for new clothes or new stuff like that, then I would definitely suggest you all to still go there. And you never know what kind of a deal you might end up with, and it's really good stuff. So just give it a shot. The next point is about Bangalore culture and local language. Now, Bangalore is in Karnataka, where Kannada is the state language. Now, Hindi and English are actually widely understood as well, but given that it's the local language, it is always nice to know a few words and to just learn, and to also kind of constantly make the active decision to kind of learn it. Like, unless you really want to learn it, you're not going to want to. Given the recent happenings, I do understand sometimes why a lot of people are like, nope. But just for your safety, given certain situations that are happening, and also for the love of learning a new language, you always have a lot of resources where they teach Kannada. I think there is a podcast called Kannada Gottilla, but basically they're teaching you how to speak Kannada. So that's always a nice way. If you go to Reddit, there's a subreddit called Bangalore, where there is a link to the place like where basically you can learn Kannada. There are a lot of people willing to help you out. So if you really want to learn the language and actually want to make that active decision, that conscious choice, then there are always resources to help you out, and I'll be more than happy to help you out regarding anything if you drop it in the comment section. The last point, and this is regarding being safe and staying safe and just being aware of your surroundings. While Bangalore is a huge place, like I've mentioned numerous times in this video, it also means that there are a lot of things that can happen, such as people asking for money just for you to view their apartment, which is obviously a scam, so please don't do that. Some of the other scams that I can mention is some people saying that like, oh, like I don't have money, can you give it to me? I just lost my job, my family's here, trust me. That is also a scam. There are some genuine people, but more of these scams means we are less likely to trust people who are really in need of something. If you really want to help someone, please verify what is happening in any possible way. And also the most important thing, if you are really new to Bangalore, then please don't go into secluded areas late at night. It is not good for your safety, irrespective of whether you're a boy or a girl. Make sure to just stay in well-lit surroundings, use transports that a lot of people use, like especially for girls. Just now, this is just because I've heard on the news and you've all seen it. Do not step into a bus if it's a really empty bus. Make sure there are it's like at least half full. Trust me, it's better to be in a crowded bus than to be alone in a bus. The thoughts and just given everything that has happened in the past, it's really scary. So be careful of that as well. If you're going in an Uber or a cab, always send the location to someone. It doesn't matter who, just someone. Always have the helpline numbers, remember them in case, you never know, right, when there might be a need. So remember the number of police, fire and emergency ambulances as well. And that's all that there is to it. To wrap things up, Bangalore is a beautiful place. It can feel overwhelming at first, but eventually you will get the hang of it. Be smart with your choices, explore new places, and just be responsible, and you're going to have a lot of fun. If this video helped you in any possible way, please make sure to drop a like, comment, and make sure to subscribe, as that helps me a lot with creating more videos in the future. I love you all, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.